new ones. All right, well, we are now here at the time in the evening where we get to introduce the main speaker, the main billing. And tonight it's Jimmy Rose, or James Rose. I'm used to calling him James, but I suppose you answer to both, don't you?
I do, but let's go with Jimmy. I don't know how I ended up calling myself James again. That was kind of a mistake, and now I just confused the hell out of everybody.
Well, let's just go with Jimmy then, and he's the creator of Content Snare, which is a content gathering. Well, it solves the content problem for web developers and web designers and people working with clients on their marketing. It is a platform there to help collaborate to get together all the content that's needed for websites and media in an intuitive way. So Jimmy saw a need in the market and went out there and created this piece of software, which is now has ended up being a really good piece of software out there to solve a problem in the web development industry. But apart from him doing that, he is a fellow geek. He is an automation person and really has launched into Zapier in a way that I'm envious of. He's created some really good videos. He's helped me along the way as well. In fact, there was just a video he created the other day, which was a multi-step Zapier zap on how to create folders in Google Drive when a client comes through and accepts a proposal for a website. There's a heap of automations that happen in there, and which saves about an hour of time. It takes about an hour to do all that sort of stuff there. So it was one I followed through, recently, which was he's an absolute expert at that sort of stuff there. So the one thing I do remember is that when Jimmy started out recording the Zapier videos, he'd finished a whole course, and when he launched, Zapier went and changed their interface, so I had to go and do them all again. So that would have been fun. So welcome along tonight, Jimmy, and look forward to you sharing with us tonight some of your genius and gold.
Awesome, Nick. Well, thanks for having me. You mentioned there that Content Snare is for the web development industry and that we solved a problem in the market. Well, I tell you, a bunch of other people have noticed Content Snare and solved a different problem with it, which we did not see coming. This year has been really interesting because we've had mortgage brokers and accountants and like agencies, marketing teams, an airline, anyone that works with clients is using Content Snare to collect documents and information from clients. So it's helping a lot of people streamline processes, which very, very interesting times for me, which means a lot more automation. I've actually got to dig into sort of audience segmentation and automation a lot more than I did before, because now we have about, 20 different markets instead of the one that we had before.
That's pretty cool, though. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, things have gone a little bit crazy, but guys, Jimmy is the one I prefer to go to. I really need to change my name and email address and all those things, but I am from Content Snare and jimmyrose.me. JimmyRose.me is kind of my side gig, mostly for fun, where I teach people how to automate their business, because it's kind of a passion for me, because I guess I've had points in my life where I was run off my feet doing too much, and even letting things like entrepreneurial guilt slip in, which is the whole oh, I'm not doing work right now, so I feel bad, this came to a head for me when I was hanging out at some friends. I got a call on like a Thursday or something, and from some friends who were in town. They didn't warn me, idiots, but they were like, let's go around to such and such house, play board games and drink beer. And I did. Because I can. That's the point of getting into a business like this, right? That's why we all get into the business, is to have more free time. And then I sat there all day feeling sad and like I needed to be doing work. And that was kind of the end of it for me, where I decided, you know what, I've got to start claiming back my life. And this is why I really like automation, because not only does it help you do less work because things are automated, but it gives you a sense that things are being done. So, or at least that's how it does for me. So I can be hanging out, not working, and I just remind myself that stuff is still actually going on, whether that's through my team or through just automations that I know are running all the time. It just, I don't know, makes me feel a bit better about not working. So I'm going to pull up my screen share. Hey, Nick, are you going to, I guess, collate questions for me so I don't have to try and keep an eye on chat?
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on chat here. So, yeah, anyone's got any questions, feel free to just drop it in chat. I'll keep my eye on it, and then I'll
Yeah.
interrupt every now and again when it's appropriate, and we can feed those questions in.
Sweet. Can you see my PowerPoint screen?
Yep, looking
Yeah,
good.
good. I wasn't sure which screen it decided to share. It could have been awkward otherwise if it shared my other monitor.
Or interesting.
Right. All right, guys. So while this is primarily focused on Zapier, I will dig into a couple of other things. I choose Zapier as I guess what I'm going to talk about here is because automation is such a freaking complex topic. And if I try to dig into too many things, it's kind of just a bit too much. Just know that there are a lot of different automation tools out there. Zapier is the most popular, and there are a lot of different random productivity tools and that kind of thing that are going to help you get more done in less time as well. I'm just focusing on Zapier because it's generally a bit easier to use and one of the most popular. If you'd like to learn more about just random productivity and automation stuff, head over to jimmyrose.me and just have a look around there. But in this chat, we're going to cover why you should look at automating, or like why it's even worth your time doing, how automation works, just a general overview, and how to work out what to automate, specifically with some cool examples. And it is actually someone mentioned before that they would just like one tip to come out of this. And that's something I always like to mention at this point is that all I really want you to get out of today is one thing. I'm going to talk about a lot of different ideas and concepts, but the thing is, if you can find just one thing that saves you, like if I'm going to be talking for 45 minutes, you're going to get back your time in setting up an automation pretty quickly. If it's only 45 minutes, you have to pay back. And you can do that with one automation very easily. And I'll talk about the ROI of automation really soon. Now, the main reason why I like automating, it really just comes down to time leverage. I've spoken about this a bunch already with the kind of introduction where I was talking about my friend's place and like just feeling like stuff's going on all the time. And, you know, when I ran a digital agency and built websites for clients, we were just constantly like busy. It just felt like we're freaking busy all the time. Almost like, I don't know, it just felt like we were just spinning our wheels as well because it doesn't feel like you're getting all this stuff done, but you're just doing all this stuff all the time. I think a lot of business owners can, I guess, relate to that feeling. I still do occasionally. So automation helps take some of that load off, which is just so important for mental health and basically everything. So, yeah, I mean, automation is just one of three. Like I see, the main parts of getting back your life are, you know, process and team, personal productivity and automation. But, you know, this is just one piece of that. And we're going to dig into it today. So the things that automation helps you do, scale your business, obviously, because you've got more time to work on other things, helps you stay focused on the things you should be focused on. As a business owner, there are, you know, low value tasks and high value tasks. You want to be spending your time on the high value stuff, like getting clients or whatever that happens to be for you. So getting rid of the crap tasks allows you to focus on that. A big one is reducing human error. Nick just mentioned before about the workflow I showed in a YouTube video the other day of creating folders for new clients and setting up new files automatically. That is a process that when a human does it, there is potentially a lot of room for mistakes, right? Like typos or like things to be put in the wrong place and that kind of thing. So automation, when humans are involved, mistakes are going to get made. It's inevitable. We are definitely not infallible, and computers, I mean, when they're told what to do properly, they pretty much are. So reducing human error is a big one. And my favorite is you get to feel like a freaking wizard. It's still every single time I set up an awesome automation where like all these things are happening for me and I see it running for the first time, I lose it. I just love it still. I know it probably makes me a little bit weird, but I have students in my Zapier course that just absolutely love this stuff as well. So a bit of pushback, I guess, that I get on automation every so often is that it takes a lot of time to learn and to set up, right? So let's say you've listened to this talk, it's 45 minutes. It takes you a couple of hours to sort of get your bearings around Zapier. And, at that point, you're down about 3 hours. And then you set up a Zap that saves you, I don't know, let's say it's even like half an hour a week, just like a low, small example. At half an hour, you're going to pay back that 3 hours in, help me here, Nick, no, 6 weeks. And then you're going to have a free half an hour from then on, right? So that's why, like, even things that take 5 minutes add up, right? So if you spend an hour taking something, automating something that just takes 5 minutes off a week, yeah, that's going to take a while to pay back. It's 12 weeks. But then that 5 minutes, again, doesn't sound like much, but if you do this like 10 times, now it's like 50 minutes a week, and it begins adding up to the point where in my Zapier account, this is an old screenshot actually. It's running, at this time it was running around 10,000 tasks a month. Now I'm up around like 13, 14,000 tasks a month. If you average that around 30 seconds per thing that it's doing, we're talking 120, 130 hours a month. And this is just me. This isn't even like the whole team. So that is what happens when you save these tiny little bits over and over and over again. And then it's just work you never have to do again. So we don't need to cover that slide. We've already got some questions earlier, but I'm just going to give you now a general overview of what automation is. If you've kind of played around with Zapier before, you're probably going to get super bored here, but I'll get through it fairly quickly just to give people an idea of how it works, right? So I've ripped out a little bit of a Zapier screenshot here, and it comes down to the little gray text. I don't know if you can see that just above the main thing there. So when this happens, do this. So in this case, we're saying when this happens, when a contact form is entered, it could be on our website, we're going to put someone in our CRM. This is the most basic form of automation that pretty much everyone can identify with, because everyone's got a contact form or some form of way of bringing in clients. So when a form gets filled out, that it gets added active campaign. In fact, I heard a talk today, someone today that admitted to every time a client filled out their contact form, someone from their team had to manually reply and send them something, which in 2020 is just crazy. Like with the fact that you can set up an automation like this so quickly. It's just, yeah, I don't know, like, this is just a perfect example there, like contact form to a CRM, and then your CRM can automatically send them whatever the thing is that they wanted. So a few different types of triggers just quickly before we move on. So when this happens, so we've talked about like an event-based trigger. So this is like someone fills out a contact form, maybe a new row in a spreadsheet, like you could have a Google Sheet, you add a new row to it, that could set off a workflow. These are what I call events. So someone gets added to your CRM, that could be an event. You might want to fire off a workflow from that. You can also have time-based ones. So you could say, run this workflow every day at 6 a.m. or every week, every Friday, whatever it happens to be. And then you can have manual triggers as well. So I will quickly talk about an extension later, browser extension later on, that I use to manually trigger workflows at certain times. Like maybe an example of that could be a phone call. If you jump on a phone call, you could, and you want to take some notes, you could fire off a manual workflow that pushes it wherever it has to go. Taking this a little bit further, so before we had just the first two there, when this happens, do this. We have two different types of actions here, right? So we've got a filter, that's the third one down, and then another action. So what we're saying is, when someone fills out a contact form, we're going to put them in the CRM, and then we've got a condition here that's going to look up and say, only if this person is a new client, then we might put them in a spreadsheet. This is an arbitrary example, like this might not apply directly to your business, but just to sort of show you that it goes beyond just a simple, like, this is where a lot of people stop. It's like, when this happens, do this, and that's the end. But you can create super complex workflows, like many, many steps long, that do all kinds of things, which we'll dig into later. In Zapier, it's quite linear like this. Just kind of mention that there are other automation tools out there. So this is ActiveCampaign. It's not the same kind of automation. ActiveCampaign is a marketing automation platform, but you might be used to seeing Logit like this, where it's like, if this condition is true, then we do this. If it's not true, then we do this other thing. Zapier isn't so good at that. There are ways around it, but we're getting a bit far out of, it's a bit advanced, a bit too much for this talk, but you can kind of accomplish this with Zapier. Just thought I'd mention that quickly. All right. The number one thing by far that I get asked and that people say they get stuck with automation is just where to start. It's when I had a questionnaire when I was first talking about doing a course and asking what people wanted to know in automation, 80% of responses were like, I don't know where to start. And what I'm going to do here is actually share my screen, a browser screen, because everything that Zapier has got, everything that's in here, Zapier has gone and changed. So as Nick said, they love changing their, I was going to say UI. They did it to me right as, where is my screen? Right as I finished recording my course, they went and blew everything up on me. Oh, this is killing me. Where's the, there it is. I don't know why that wasn't showing up in Alt Tab. But yeah, so now they've also changed the front end website as well. So all of that stuff that I was just going to go through has broken. This is brand new. But essentially, what I recommend people do is come to just the Zapier homepage and start by hovering over Explore here and going apps that work with Zapier. Now here you will see there's literally thousands of these, of different apps that Zapier integrates with. So my favorite place to start is literally just pick something you're already using, like Google Sheets, for example. And yeah, I don't actually fully know this new UI, so this is going to be interesting. But there's only one bit I really care about with all of this. And so opening up like that app that you're using and scrolling down to here, where it says triggers, actions, and searches. And these are the absolute core of automation, right? So to develop a bit of a, I guess, dictionary or just a repertoire of what is possible with automation, this is where I always tell people to start. So this is where you start generating ideas. So you look at the triggers and you can see here that we can kick off, remember triggers are what kick off a workflow. So we've got here new spreadsheet row. So then we know that we can start a workflow when a new spreadsheet row is added. There might be another one here, like if a row is updated. There we go. So they're like obviously the two main ones for a spreadsheet. Just starting with a simple example here, if we click over to actions, here are all kinds of stuff you can do in Google Sheets, right? So create a spreadsheet row, update an existing row. We could create a worksheet, copy an existing worksheet, like that could, for example, if you wanted to copy a sheet for a new client or something, create a new tab in an existing workbook. These are just good things to know. So when you're thinking about stuff to automate, you can go, oh yeah, no, I know that now that I can add a new row in a spreadsheet with Zapier. So let's go back and have a look at, let's say MailChimp. A lot of people are using MailChimp. Oops, hang on a second. And go all the way back. And type in MailChimp up here. So what I would suggest here is like literally just start typing in stuff that you already use, whatever CRM you're using, whatever email system you're using. If you're using a booking app like Calendly, plug all that kind of stuff in and just see what kind of integrations we have. So if you go down, again, we look at the triggers. We can fire off a workflow when we've got a new subscriber, when someone opens an email, like you might want to fire off a workflow in a different system when someone opens an email. Link clicked here. So doing this totally on the fly here. I didn't even know these were possible in MailChimp because I don't use them. But like right there, because I know how automation works and because I've built up a repertoire of this stuff, I know now that you could have link clicked as a trigger and then fire yourself an SMS to call someone. So you could literally have a link in an email that says, click this if you want to call immediately. And that would fire you an SMS with the person's number and you just click it and call them, right? So, and that's just off the top of my head, reading this. This is why I love this section of just looking at what kind of triggers there are and then what kind of actions you can do in each app. I'm skipping over searches because that's a bit too advanced for this. Like, I've only got 45 to an hour and I have an entire, I guess, lesson dedicated just to searches in my course. So, when you start adding up all these things, it gets pretty complicated, but you can save so much time just with a basic trigger and action setup. So yeah, basically the summary of that is go to the Zapier website, go to this Explore and go to apps that work with Zapier, and just have a look around at the stuff you're already using and just scroll down to that section with triggers and actions. Now there is another page here which can be helpful. So you saw there when I was in Google Sheets, I clicked MailChimp and then it went to like a combined page of Google Sheets and MailChimp just to give you examples of specifically those two together. Another way to look at that is this popular ways to use Zapier menu item here. And you can they've added this new thing now to explore different kinds of integrations by what role you have in the business or marketing specific ones. But coming down to this section, they've moved this down. Obviously, they don't think it's as important. It used to be right at the top. But you can actually just kind of tick on apps you're using. So again, if we're using like Google Sheets, we can tick that on, tick on Twitter. You can see them being activated just here, Google Sheets and Twitter. And now it's going to give us some actual examples of workflows that we can use. And you can literally click one of these and actually dump it directly into your account. You hit that try it button there. It's going to set that Zap up like immediately in my account. I'm in an incognito window here, so I'm not logged in. But that is essentially two of the best ways, in my opinion, to just start exploring Zapier and just kind of, we were talking before, there's like millions, billions of possibilities of different integrations here. You can start whittling that down to what matters to you just by looking at apps you're already using, tools you're using every day and seeing what kind of data you can move between them. Pull this up again. Oh no, I went from beginning. Idiot.
Hey, just a question.
Yeah.
Up, and that was just from Donna asking, are there people out there, or so whether it's you or other people that you know of that can set Zaps up for you?
Yeah, tons. So technically I can. I have to say no to a lot of work at the moment just because of too many things going on. But if you go to, actually, let me pull that back up. I'm going to see if I can find where it is. There's a Zapier experts directory. Because sometimes actually in the Zaps, when you're setting up a Zap, there's a button that says like, get help from an expert. There you go. Here's one here. So I can tell you that the accreditation process to get on this list, where am I? I didn't know I was this far down, but there we are. So yeah, the accreditation process to get on this list is extensive. It's probably one of the hardest ones I've ever done. So I can pretty much say anyone that's on there is going to be pretty decent. But yeah, and also I have a lot of students from my course, so feel free to reach out to me. There are a few of them that actually offer this as a service after going through my course. So worth, yeah, I can put you in touch if you want to reach out, or you can go through this directory here.
Cool.
Let's go back to here. I'll press current slide this time. So yeah, that's where we were. Okay, so like I was saying, really all this comes down to knowing what's possible. That's the biggest thing with automation. If you don't know where to start, then you're just going to sort of, I guess, get stuck because it's just a big world of all these things you can do. So just starting out with something that you do know, like apps you're already using that you're familiar with, and just working out what you can plug together. And you are going to learn with time. So this is kind of a snowball, right? You're going to learn, you set up a couple of small Zaps, you're going to go contact form to your CRM, and you're going to be super happy because you never have to, do that process manually again. And then next time you're going to think of something else to add to that, and you're going to build on it. You're going to build on it. And this is going to become a really big part of your business. It's, don't think you're going to be an expert right away. I've been using Zapier for, I don't know, like 6 or 7 years. I don't even know how long Zapier's been around. But it's a very long time, and, you're not going to know all the things immediately, but, over time you will. And actually, just on that question that came up about, are there people that will help you set up Zaps? Part of me is a big believer that the business owner should have a pretty big, like a decent understanding of Zapier, because there's like, you can't just go and set up Zaps for someone. Like, I do this as a service, right? And almost always I have to have an in-depth conversation with people to talk about their entire process, get an understanding of their business before we can start setting up any automation or Zaps at all, because you need a deeper understanding of the business. And that's why I think it's important for business owners to know what's possible, because you know your process, you understand your business. And then if you have an idea of what's possible, then you can communicate with someone like me or another agency that can help you set this up. And it's much better spot for you to be in than just trying to sort of, take a stab in the dark. Okay. So when it comes to thinking about what you should automate in your business, there's 4 categories that I like to focus on. One is double handling. And a contact form is a perfect example of this. So if you have to take details that have already been entered and put them somewhere else, like taking them from a contact form to a CRM, that's a perfect example of double handling. If you've got to put that information then in multiple places, maybe it's in your project management system, maybe it's in your accounting system, Xero, whatever you're using, you're putting that same information everywhere. That should be automated. It's one of those ones that's very open to human error as well. Social posting is one. So, if you're putting similar content on several platforms, you don't want to have to go and copy and paste it into all the different places. That's a perfect example of double handling as well. Email, anything that requires excessive email is worth looking at automating. This isn't necessarily Zapier related, but I just think email is one of the worst productivity killers for business owners. So anything you can do to reduce your time on email is important. So 2 of the big ones here are booking times. Like, if you're not using a booking system like Calendly at this point, please just set that up. I am so sick of going through email trails of like, what time works for you? And, I'm not good at 6 a.m. on Tuesday. Maybe we should try Wednesday. Oh, wait, what time zone was that in? Like, it's ridiculous. We don't need to be doing that stuff anymore. So set up a booking system like Calendly, or, there's plenty out there. I like Calendly because it's simple. Another one excessive email is collecting information from clients. So that's obviously content snare. It's a bit of a shameless plug right there. The process of collecting information from your clients is often just devolves into chaos and huge email trails. That's why we've got content snare. And another one with email is, it could just be like client check-ins as well. A really simple example, if you have monthly work with monthly retainers or ongoing work with clients that you need to check in, you can just automate emails each month to just say, hey, how are things going or whatever, and get them to reply. So that's just a really simple example that saved me a bunch of time. Repetitive tasks. So this can be just anything you're having to do over and over and over. So the folder structure is a perfect one that Nick brought up before. If you're having to create the same sort of folder structure for every client that comes on, that kind of thing can be automated. This is especially prone to human error as well, but some other ones are like invoicing follow-ups. You don't want to be if you send an invoice and you're waiting for someone to get back to you, you got to, it's going to be the same thing every time you're chasing up an invoice. That's a repetitive task that you can offload. And my favorite actually is this last one, stuff that you forget. And some examples here are like, let's say social media mentions. So I have most of my social media notifications turned off, right? So, because I don't want to be getting notified all the time. But if someone mentions me, sorry, pardon. Thank you for allowing me to cough. Thank you. See what I did there, Nick? So like, I don't want to go in and check my social media. Sorry, I forget to go and check my social media. So I can set up an automation to monitor it for me and then just drop it into my to-do list every day to go and check it. Another one is like new leads. So I have an automation set up that, and actually I'll dig into this one in a bit more detail soon, that automatically monitors every new lead that comes in every day. and rolls them up into my to-do system. So I can just open a task in my task management system and see all the new leads that came in that day without having to log into my CRM and see like who signed up and that kind of thing. So just another example, like stuff you know you should be doing, but you forget to do, you can actually get automations to notify you to do it, essentially. All right, so now I'm literally just going to go through a bunch of screenshots from different automation tools, mostly Zapier, and explain what they're doing. And this is where hopefully you get some cool ideas, and hopefully it only needs one for you to make this whole thing worthwhile. And based on how much time I have, I can basically keep doing this forever. So Nick, you probably have to tell me to stop at some point. No, I have a few key ones. I got a few key ones, and then if I'm too short on time, I just have a backup of like 20 different things that I can go through. So yeah, let me know. Cool. So depending on what kind of business you have, like if you have, let me back up on that. So you probably have clients coming on board in various ways. So maybe they're just leads too, like they might be signing up for a lead magnet on your site. If you've got an e-commerce business, it's probably going to be higher volume. So you've got lots of different people coming through all the time. So I have the system here that enables basically personal thank yous to certain people. So I filter out who gets a thank you. So I don't want to if you're doing 100 leads a day, you don't want to be sending personal thank yous to people. But you can use automations to, you can see here 3 steps down that I am creating a Bonjoro. And what this is it's a little video app that sits on your phone, and that step there, create Bonjoro, that step 3 will create a notification on my phone that says, hey, such and such just signed up for your Zapier course, right? So that's what I'm doing here. I'm filtering on people that have bought my Zapier course and then this is going to show up in my phone on this silly little app where I can hit record, speak to the camera for 30 seconds, say, hey, awesome to see you on board. Thanks for signing up. Really excited to help you out with Zapier and blah, blah, blah. Hit stop and go, right? And that is going to send an email out to that person with the video. They click it, they can watch it. It's an awesome level of personalization that goes out to select people. And it required 30 seconds of my time. There was one point that sending a video to someone would have taken, 20 minutes to screen record and then upload it and then send the email. And if they don't open it, send another email. And this is the power of automation. So Bonjoro, this is using Zapier in conjunction with a tool called Bonjoro. I'll go back there so you can see the spelling, Bonjoro. Epic little tool. And combined with this automation, it's a personalized experience for clients. And I like to start with this one because another, pushback on automation is lack of personalization. And this is super personalized, right? You can call out the person by name, have a look at their website, actually mention their website in the video. And it's only taken 30 seconds because everything else around that process has been automated. So this is what I mentioned. Oh, did I mention? Yeah. So identifying the best leads that come through our business each day. So if you have a higher volume, or if you've got lots of people signing up for a lead magnet or something, and you don't really want to have to look through lots and lots of leads every day, there's a couple of things going on in this app. So this third step, it's called Lead Score by Zapier. And what it does is returns a bit of information about a person just based on their email address. So there's essentially databases out there and I don't know where this sits in privacy land, but Zapier's got this built in. It's free as part of Zapier, but you can punch in a person's email address. So in this case, we've got a new subscriber that's added to our list up here. We can feed that email address into this thing called Lead Score, and it spits out some information like what country they're based in, how many staff they had, their business name, and GDP of where they're from and all this kind of stuff. And for me, a really important metric is how many staff that they have. If they have, 30 plus staff, we know they're a decent sized client that really stand to benefit from our software. So then there's a filter down there that says we'll only continue this workflow if they have more than 30 staff. And then we can drop a notification into, like, I could SMS myself and say, hey, look, someone's like a really big company just signed up if it's more than 100 staff. So a really cool example of how this got me a really big client. I had this set up so that if someone over 100 staff signed up, it would email me right away, right? Because I spend a lot of time in my email, so I would see it right away. And we had one of the top 10 airlines in the world sign up, and I got that notification immediately, which meant they were still on our website and still mucking around with it. So I was able to reach out with them while they were still there, and now they're a client of ours. And that was all because of an automation. You know, if I had to go through at the end of the day and have a look at who signed up and go, oh, wow, look at that company signed up. You know, it's too late by that point. So this kind of thing can, help you get on top of big leads really quick. So just quickly, this was Lead Score by Zapier. There are other tools out there like Clearbit. It starts at like $100 a month, so it's not on the cheap end, but the amount of data you can pull back from someone just on their email address is insane with Clearbit. So you can get like their Twitter URL, like social profiles, like what country they're in, name, like what their role is at a business. It's crazy. So I'm not saying use this for like spam. I'm saying use this to like identify who, like if they are bang on your ideal client, then you should reach out to them immediately and give them like that personal touch. But there's actually, and no, actually, I'm going to skip over the next one because it's a little bit too complicated. So this is a funny example too. So finding out where people heard about you, right? So you probably get clients coming to you from all kinds of different ways. So a really cool way, this is an exact example from our business because we get people hearing about us from like blog posts and podcasts and all kinds of things. And our analytics isn't able to tell us where they came from because it's like some kind of word of mouth. So what we do is when they first sign up, so this could be after they sign up for a lead magnet of yours or whatever, you can send them to a form where they get something for free in exchange for telling you where they came from. In our case, they extend the trial to Content Snare by just 7 days and with a little bit of information. And then this form that they submit becomes the trigger for an automation, right? And then you can do whatever you want with that. So in our case, we extend their trial by 7 days and we drop it into a spreadsheet. So now I can go through at any time, look at that spreadsheet and say, hey, look, this is all the places that people are coming into our business from, right? So it's kind of like a poor man's analytics in a way, when analytics isn't working for you. Like if you're getting clients from word of mouth, obviously Google Analytics isn't going to tell you where they're coming from. So this kind of thing can sort of fill that gap in your data. So moving on, this is a non-Zapier automation. And I reckon if you were to get one thing out of this entire talk, if this is it, then you're easily going to have paid back your time. Follow-up then is, I use this multiple times per day, like tons and tons, actually. It's probably 15 to 20 times per day. And I mean, it's pretty good USP right there. It says the simplest way to schedule an email reminder. So you basically use the BCC field. I don't use the CC like that example showing, but you can say something like 5 days at followupthen.com. And if you use the BCC, it will then bounce that email back to you in 5 days and say, hey, you should probably follow up with this person. And I use this for pretty much everything. This could be bringing on a new client. Maybe I've sent out an invoice and I want to sent out a proposal and I want to, if they haven't signed it yet, I might want to follow up with them and say, hey, what's going on? It could be used for invoicing follow-ups. I use this to get on podcasts. If I've been talking to someone about going on their podcast and that email thread goes dry, this will remind me to follow up with them. So, and I guess a key there is email threads go dead all the time. And it's not because they don't want to do business with you or whatever. They just got busy and they forgot. People are just absolutely crap at managing their inboxes. So, it's a lot of the time, if you've sent an email to someone and you don't have a system to remind yourself to check in with that person if they don't reply, you are doing yourself a huge disservice. So please set up something like this. I use follow up then because it's really, there's no extensions. There's no, like, you doesn't have to have anything else installed on your computer. So that means it works from your phone too. So once you're set up on follow up, then you just literally BCC the address from your phone or whatever email client you're using, and it'll bounce that email back to you in however many days. So you could say like 5 days, 1 month, 3 months. So, those emails where it's like, oh, we'll circle back around on this in a couple of months time because I'm too busy right now. Yep. So I just BCC immediately, BCC 2 months. So I make sure I check back in with that person in 2 months. So you can use this for sales, partnerships, proposal follow-ups, invoice follow-ups, everything. Just make sure you're on top of your email follow-up game. I'm going to jump back to Zapier now because this one is a very specific tool called Digest. And a digest is let's think about it as a list of things, right? So if you create a digest of leads that have come in one day, it would be just a big list of email addresses, right? In one big block of text, if that makes sense. So in Zapier, the last step there you can see is append, entry, and schedule digest. In this example, this is a project management system that we use, and we're basically rolling up all the tasks that happened in one day or 1 week and dropping them into a digest. And that digest then drops into my personal task management system at, I think it's Monday at 8 a.m. So I can just have a look at everything that happened in that last week, just at a glance, right? I don't have to go into my project management system and look around and see what was done. It's like getting a report delivered to you. And I'll show you an example of this. So, so this is an email that goes out towards the end of someone's trial, and it says, how likely are you to continue using Content Snare? I ripped this straight off HubSpot. HubSpot do the same thing. I thought it was such a good idea. And then I have an automation behind those buttons. Remember, we saw in MailChimp earlier, there was an automation you could fire off when someone clicks a link. So all these links now fire off an automation that gets pushed into a digest, which then appears in my Trello, and it looks like this. So see how there we've just basically got some text. Like each one of these is a digest item, right? So every time someone clicks a link, I'm dropping the name and email and the company they work for, and whether they clicked likely, unlikely, or unsure. And that just comes into a block of text. And all you have to do in Zapier for that is create a step called append and schedule digest. So in this case, it might be contact clicked a link, append it to a digest, and then drop that digest into my Trello each day, for example. It could be, it could be each day, it could be each week, it could be each hour if you want. But yeah, so some other examples of where digests are really cool. One, so the new leads coming in each day, and you could actually pair this with the lead score that we talked about before, and say, only if people who signed up in Australia, we use lead score to find out what country they're from. And we say, anyone who's from Australia, put them in a digest and show me that at the end of the day. And that's where automation gets crazy. So powerful is when you combine all these different things. But some other examples, maybe you want to monitor several blogs. You can roll up blogs using RSS by Zapier into just a digestible feed for yourself each day. You could monitor Twitter for keywords. So this is how you can build your own brand monitoring tool using something like Twitter to do an action in Zapier. A trigger in Zapier is a search match. So you could put your brand name in as the search match, drop that into a digest, and then feed it through to yourself at the end of the day. What else? Yeah, like this one we just spoke about with project management. I love that just to get like a report of activity going on in our project management system each day. There's just anything like this is actually perfect for the stuff you forget category that I was talking about before. So, I forget to go in and check what leads have come in. I forget to do those search mentions on Twitter. I forget to have a look at my project management system. So this just drops all those little reports into my task management system each day. Just skip back past that. Asking for feedback is a big one. So pretty much every business could use this in some way. If you're a service-based business, you could have, if you build websites, you could have an email that goes out after the end of a project that asks people to fill out a form. Same thing with e-commerce. any kind of business, you can automatically send an email to just ask for feedback, right? And in this example, this is what we do with Content Snare. We show up like a box down the bottom where they say how happy they are with Content Snare, and then it brings up a box that they type in with their comments. And taking this a step further, once you've got the feedback from them, you can even automate asking for reviews and testimonials. So, it probably doesn't make as much sense for a service-based business because you don't have, if you get feedback from someone, it's probably only going to happen a couple of times a week, maybe. So it's not hard to just say, hey, could you leave us a review? But if you're doing something higher volume, you can see here, this is a different automation tool, but you could do the same thing with Zapier and say so they submitted a score that was 8 or greater, which means they're pretty bloody happy with our service. And they haven't previously done a testimonial. Then we just pop up this message and say, hey, wow, thanks for that. Would you mind leaving a review? So you do the same thing with email automation tools or Zapier. So exactly the same thing. If a client submits a form and they gave you 5 stars, then you can automatically send them an email and say, hey, awesome. So thank you so much for that. I'm glad you liked working with us, or I'm glad you enjoyed the products that you bought. Would you mind now leaving a review? Kind of like a sneaky way, I guess, to try and get the positive reviews. Any other notes? Yeah. So actually one other thing here, you can also ask for feedback based on different. So going back to this one, you might not want to ask everyone for feedback. So if you have a way to identify who your potential best clients are or whatever, best customers, you can use those as conditions as well. So in our example, we keep track of usage statistics inside our app. So if you're e-commerce, you might have how much they spent could be a useful value metric. And then you only ask for a review from someone who spent a certain amount. I don't know how good of an example that is. I'm not in e-commerce, but again, it's just using these combinations of conditions and then actions and sending emails to your clients. So I think pretty much every business can use these next 2 sections that I'm going to talk about, learning and social. So I even automate my learning to an extent. So using a tool like Feedly, this is what's up on the screen here, feedly.com. This is just a basic blog reader, essentially. So you punch in the blogs that you like or ones that are in your industry, and you can just click through them. So I do this once a week, right? I've allocated time each week where I go through. You can see some of those blogs that I followed down here on the left-hand side. And so I just literally click through them, see what content is new this week, and stay up to date on my industry, see what things are going on. And taking this one step further, I actually curate a weekly newsletter and social media feed out of this. So if any of these posts are interesting to my potential clients, I have a weekly newsletter. And so if I'm on a blog post right now, this is just Chrome. This is that extension I wanted to cover earlier. It's like a manually triggered automation. It's an extension called Push by Zapier. And when you open it, you get a little form like this. So you can have multiple boxes or just one box. In my case, I have this automation that says, send this article to my newsletter and to all my social feeds. So going back, we're looking at blog posts here that just in my industry or that my target audience might be find helpful. And then I click a couple of buttons, well, one button. I type in why I think this is a good article and hit send. And that is going to this kicks off a workflow that pushes it into my weekly newsletter and pushes it to my LinkedIn, my Twitter, and I believe Facebook, and probably more. I can't remember, but I don't even remember what this does anymore because this is the only way I post things on my social now. Every time I find a good article, I just use this push by Zapier, and it ends up in my newsletter as well. So, if you're not doing a weekly newsletter, that's actually something I'd recommend. Maybe we can drop in a link later, Nick. I have some resources. I've got a 3-part series on my YouTube on how to create a newsletter, and this exact system, this push by Zapier, the curated tool that I use. So, people are like, I don't have the time to send a newsletter. I pretty much spend no time on it because I've got all the posts there ready to go. So once a week I go in there and I just throw it all together from all the things that I've already bookmarked through the week anyway. So it doesn't take me much time, and my audience love it because it's actually really well curated content. So that's a really awesome way to stay in contact with your clients.
We've got a yes please to that link, so
Yeah,
that
cool.
sounds like it's a popular thing.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, I think that's what I was saying. Like this section, I think pretty much any business can benefit from that. Now, this one is an old screenshot of Zapier, which is literally, it was just going to be the workflow that does that, but you'll learn that in those videos, so don't worry about it. You can even use Zapier to ask, like, to randomize things, and this is a kind of funny example. So I have a Facebook group full of web designers, my target audience. I don't do this anymore now that we have, natural engagement in the group. But at one point, I used to randomize each week. We'd have like show off your designs on Wednesday, and it would randomize. So you can use, there's a utilities by Zapier, and sorry, Formatter is the app by Zapier, and then you go into this choose random option, and you can just randomize things. So it would ask a different question each week, just so it wasn't the same text being punched into my group every week. So that was kind of cool in the early days of my group for generating engagement. There's lots of different things you can use randomization for, but I am running out of time. If you would like to see some of the tools that I use, just head over to jimmyrose.me/tools. That one's pretty easy to remember. I go into a lot more things there. While you're there, you may as well have a look around on the blog. Automation is a complex topic, and I hope, this has been some reasonably okay to follow. It's very hard to try and cram lots of different ideas into a talk. So, it might be better off going through some things in your own time. I do have, if you want to start and learn how to use Zapier from scratch, there is a post and video I have at jimmyrose.me/Zapier-tutorial. Nick, that might be worth linking up as well. Right. That one covers like a lot of what we've talked about here today, but I guess just sort of start to finish in creating your first Zap.
What was that link, Jimmy?
So it's Zapier-tutorial. So if I go, so if you search for Zapier tutorial, it should show up in Google as well, I hope. But yeah, so there's a post here that goes through like a text-based version of it. But the main thing is probably that video. It's a kind of thing that it's better off visual. So just watch that video or click over to YouTube and watch it there. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I mean, am I out of time?
No, we're good. We've got a couple of questions coming through as well too. So
sure.
What do we got here? Can you get a notice from Facebook to Zapier and a filter that says that they've joined your Facebook group?
No. Yeah, so that's kind of a pain in the ass. I funnily enough, I had a video on that as well. So I use a semi-automated process. I'll just quickly pull up. All right, so there's my YouTube channel. So yeah, if you do that, it's at jimmyrose.me/YT, or just click the YouTube link at the bottom of my homepage. But there should be a video in here somewhere for, it's called Getting Email Addresses from Facebook groups. So there's this one here. Now have a look at that. We have a semi-automated process for this. Oh, that's flattering. So, and there are extensions out there. Like I know the guy who built this extension, groupspro.io, which is basically it's a terrible looking website, but it enables you to, like a browser extension where you just click a button and it will extract all of those, the people that have applied to join your group and pull out their email addresses. And if you ask for an email address, and pull out the answers to their questions that they have to answer to enter your group. Yeah, so, and this one is like semi-automated process using a couple of different tools, but yeah, I walk through it in that video.
Cool. All right. Another question here. Your courses, are they for beginners?
Yeah, so I get this a lot. Obviously, this has been kind of rushed, so I understand it can be super complicated. What I would suggest is heading over to that Zapier tutorial video that's free, and having a look at that, because it's I can step through it a bit slower. Or yeah, so this link up here, the Zapier intro, is my it's a $17 course, and you get a bonus text expander course as well, which is another tool that saves me a stupid amount of time. But I explicitly had a friend of mine in mind when I created the entire course, um, who always yells at me when I talk technical. So she's a good friend like that. And if I ever get out of hand and talk too technical, she yells at me. So I pretended the entire time that I was trying to teach her when I was building this course. And that is the feedback that I've gotten, is that it starts out really basic and steps people through and learning Zapier from a beginner level.
Excellent. All right, what else we got here? We've got, I'm not sure whether this is one you can answer, but it's more specific from Manuel. It's which booking system, and you may know, I'm not sure, which booking system would you recommend for a cleaning business with multiple cleaners and clients?
Ooh, crap. So I know, damn it, I don't know if it's an actual booking system or just a scheduling system, but Fresh Ops, it's actually built by a local Brisbane company here. That's for managing the cleaners in the field. I think they have a booking system, but yeah, no, I don't actually know when it comes down to booking like in field services like that. I know they exist. It's just not something I've helped many people with at this point.
Possibly another one to look at would be Appointee. So Appointee is another one that can have multiple locations, multiple people, and multiple times. And
Yeah, so cleaning is it really depends on the type of cleaning business you have too. Like if they're booking for regular locations, or are they like entering in a new location and you have to try and allow for travel time either side and that kind of thing. Like that it could be really complicated.
yeah, it's probably a Zap for that, isn't there?
Be a very complicated Zap.
Yeah. All right. Anyone else got any questions here? Debbie has, just unmute yourself and ask away.
I've just got, excuse me, two questions,
Sure.
James. One is in regards to social posting and automation, doesn't people or places like Facebook hate you automating it from other third-party apps, or are there particular apps that they are okay with?
Right. So this gets thrown around a lot without any real data. So I actually don't know the answer. I see pretty similar levels of engagement no matter how I do it. That's anecdotal evidence, obviously. It's probably worth doing some research on, but I tell you what I do. I don't post directly from Zapier. I use Zapier to push through Buffer. And if there's any tool that Facebook are going to be happy with, it's Buffer, because they are an absolutely solid tool. They've been around forever, extremely reputable. So basically I just use Zapier to enqueue all my posts with Buffer, and then Buffer actually does the time scheduling for me. I try to strip out some things when I do the talk, just because otherwise I'll be dumping like 800 tools at the same time.
No, it was really good. Thank you for that. My second question, I wrote the question, then I realized that I think you only do Zapier, because I wanted to ask you what your thoughts were on Groove.
On which one? Sorry, Groove. I have not used Groove. So I really like Integromat. Well, sorry. I like the power of Integromat, but its user experience and interface is extremely complicated, so I don't recommend it for newbies. And there's a bunch others coming out now, like Integrately and Pabbly Connect, but I pretty much can do everything I want with the other two. So, and I guess another automation tool I use is ActiveCampaign. You can actually do a lot of cool things when you're combining a marketing automation platform with a workflow automation platform like Zapier. So I haven't looked into Groove.
Thanks for that.
No worries.
All right, probably got time for one or two more questions, and then we'll move on to the prize draw. Anyone else got a question?
Nick, can I just quickly jump in?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Jimmy, I use Zoho as my CRM, and it's got a whole bunch of other sort of applications that jump into it. And it's not intuitive. You have to get your head around it.
Yeah.
So, have you ever seen Zoho integrated with Zapier, and what would be the application that you would use?
Right. So Zapier is a monstrous platform, right? They've got projects, CRM, bookings, like all kinds of things. So I guess I need to know more about your circumstance, like which part of Zoho you want to integrate with. I know that Zoho has so many bits and pieces that they have their own integration platform between their own pieces. So, that's probably something worth digging into. In my opinion.
Yeah, it's the social side. So they've got Zoho Social, which does that. You pre-schedule your
right,
and you can drop it into Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. But it's not clunky, but it's I'm wanting to get a little bit clever, a little bit.
Yeah. So really, to know what's possible, it's the exact what we were talking about at the very start, where just go to that apps exploration area and just type in Zoho, and I'm pretty sure they're all separate integrations too. Like there'll be like Zoho Social and Zoho CRM and Zoho Projects, whatever. In my experience, Zoho has been a bit clunky as well. It seems like all the tools were built by different people almost, and they've just kind of whacked them all together. But it's if like I said, just explore it, and see how you go. That's the place I always start. It's like, is X possible with this tool? Go and have a look at the triggers and the actions and see if one of them works. And actually, eventually you'll just start going to Zapier and actually creating a workflow. This is what I do now. I don't go to those documentation pages anymore, because like if you want, for example, in a CRM, you might want to add a tag to a contact, but you might go, oh, there's no action to add a tag, but really that'll be hidden under another action like update a contact. And then there'll be a field in there to add tags to people. So that's generally how I do it now. I just go straight into Zapier. I add an action, create a sample workflow, add an action, and just explore, just have a look, see what's possible.
Yeah. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I think that's it for time. Thanks very much for sharing and all that information. I know you've probably got heaps more as well too. I could sit here for another couple of hours listening to all the other bits and pieces you've got as well. I'm an avid fan of automation. We've got a whole lot of stuff automated here. Nice. And one of the automations you talked about, which is the newsletter, was actually better than mine, so I've got to go and redo mine again. So
nice.
So that was awesome.
Very good. Did we get the link for that? I can't remember.
We did.
Just one thing I would like to mention too is just take one thing. I know there was an absolute crapload of stuff in there, or lots of different things. Just pick one of them and do that. If you just have it all, if you have 100 ideas written down, you're never going to do any of them. Just try and pick one, and something that's going to save you a bunch of time, and go with that. And
in fact, just doing that one, you'll get some experience, and then just doing it will give you an idea of what's possible as well too. And I just find things just jump in your mind, thinking, I could probably do this or I could do that. So
yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to whack in that link. That's the newsletter link.
Alrighty. Okay, well, look, while you're doing that, I will bring up our wheel of names to come and draw tonight's prize. Mm-hmm. And as we do that, do you want to tell us what the prize is that you got for us tonight?
Yeah, it's just access to my Zapier Mastery course, which is currently going for $3.99 US.
Awesome. Yeah, excellent. Anyone want that? Put your hand up. No? Okay. All right, so the way it works is we'll spin the wheel. All of your names are in there. And remember, you have to be here to win. So let's spin it and see who the lucky winner is. Drum roll, please. And that would be Martin. Fantastic. Oh, that's
nice. There's a delay on that.
That's Martin here, who's I know he's here.
Yep, I can see him. Congrats.
So maybe if Martin, you throw your email address and phone number in the chat there to Jimmy.
You can just send it to jimmy@jimmyrose.me if you like, if you don't want to put it there. Put it
There's
public.
probably an automation there. You'll get a video back saying, "G'day."
Get out of here. No, it's yeah, just shoot me an email or in the chat, whatever you prefer. Jimmy, I'll put my email in.
Cool, excellent. Hey, well,
me.
look, fantastic presentation tonight. Thank you very much for that. Hopefully everyone has got something to take away tonight. Maybe just throw in your in the group chat there the first the thing that you're going to automate tonight or tomorrow. So just throw in what you think you might do. All right, we have actually we've got Aldwyn here tonight as well too. So Aldwyn is the media queen. I'm speaking at her meetup tomorrow. Not sure what I'm speaking about. I am speaking tomorrow, aren't I?
Yes, you're speaking about the top 21 apps for marketing.
Ah, fantastic. Excellent. I might have to readjust that tonight after tonight's presentation. So anyone who wants to come along to that and listen to me there, if you're not sick of me tonight, definitely come along. And Aldwyn's got a great meetup there with media as well. She's a journalist, photojournalist, and she gets people into onto TV, into newspapers, onto radio. In fact, a good friend of mine is travelling up around northern Queensland on a road trip, and he's been interviewed on radio all the way up there. So it's been pretty amazing. That was all as a result of Aldwyn's work. And that is literally tens of thousands of dollars worth of coverage that he's got for free for his project. So yeah, so come along with that tomorrow, and I think you've got some free tickets for that tomorrow too.
And he's been on TV as well. He's been on Channel 7, Channel 9. We've had heaps of media, so it's been awesome. So yeah, very cool. Thank you for that. Thank you for that referral, Nick. Yeah, so I do have some giveaways. I've got some tickets to my How to Gain $1 Million worth of free publicity workshop, which is coming up on August 27th. It's a 4-hour workshop, very intensive. People have gone straight out and got publicity afterwards. So there's 2 tickets worth $50 each I've got to give away tonight. And I'll put the link in the chat.
So I mean, this is free publicity. This is not paying for ads or newspaper or anything like that there. So worth, what is it, 8 times more or 10 times more? It's
worth 3 to 8 times more to get publicity, to get a journalist reporting about you rather than paying for ads. So don't waste money on advertising.
Excellent. Well, let's spin the wheel, and you've got a couple to give away tonight, have you?
Yeah, we'll give 2 away tonight.
All right, fantastic.
Thanks, Nick.
And the first one would be John Huckstep. Are you here, John?
Still there?
Are you still here, John? I think he is. Oh, yes, he is. He is fantastic. That's great.
Congratulations.
And we have, actually, that'd be great for John for his services. That's great. And next one is, spin the wheel. Oh, Roby Lawrence. Fantastic. Is Roby still here? Yes, he is indeed. There we go. Happy days. Watch out, Port Macquarie. Watch out, Australia. Excellent. Thanks very much for that, Aldrin. That is
Thank you.
Awesome.
And I'll put the link for our meetup tomorrow. It's a Mass Media Tribe meetup that Nick's speaking at. So I'll just put the link up. It's a free event, 7 till 9 tomorrow night, Australian Eastern Standard Time.
Awesome. So, yeah, it'd be good to have anyone that can come along to that to come along there as well too.
Yes.
All right. What else have we got tonight? I think, can you see the my PowerPoint screen? I'm hoping you can.
Yes.
Yep. All right. So there is, that was the link to the Zapier Mastery course. So jimmyrose.me/Zapier Mastery. I think we've got that in chat now. So anyone wants to learn more about that there, definitely well worth going along and to that. And also the YouTube channel. Please go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It really does help because the more subscribers you get, then and this is for you if you've got a YouTube channel as well. Once you get to a certain level of subscribers and watchers, then you get to be able to use it as a paid platform as well. All right, so tomorrow, as always, 10 o'clock tomorrow, we have office hours. So that's on Zoom back here again. And office hours is a no agenda, no presentation, catch up. It's just like meeting at a cafe or coffee shop for a coffee and a bit of a chat about your online stuff, your marketing, your business, pretty much anything you want to bring along that's related to business and online stuff. So that's at 10 o'clock tomorrow. We've got the link into chat. So and we do have some interesting discussions there. We've got some regulars there and some newbies there as well. So come along for the hour and join us for coffee and a bit of a chat. And as ever, next week the presentation is again on Tuesday. It's on the 11th, 6 to 7:30. The topic we'll announce and the speaker will announce over the week. So just keep an eye out at the Business Owners Smashing It Online Facebook page, and we'll announce it there. And if you're on our email list, we'll also send out an email during the week as well. But we'll drop the link into chat as well. In fact, it's in chat. So you can go and RSVP to that now if you like. And while I'm here, big thank you to Lorena and JM. So Lorena and JM are two of my team over in the Philippines, and they make sure that all this happens. So Jimmy and I just turned up tonight, and magically it just all happened because they were there sort of telling you all about it. So let's give them a hand for doing all that tonight. All right, well, that's all we've got time for tonight. So thanks very much, everyone, for spending your Tuesday evening with us. And thanks again, James, for giving up your Tuesday evening to share some of your knowledge and wisdom as well.
No worries. Thanks for the invite, Nick, and everyone for showing up. I hope you took something away.
Awesome. All right, another brilliant night. Excellent. So go have a great week. Hopefully you'll see some of you here tomorrow, and some of you back here again next Tuesday. Go and have a great week.
Thanks, Nick. Good night.
All right.
Thank you. Good night.